Everyone I once counted was gone. An entire generation had disappeared in the wilderness. The fathers, the mothers, the leaders thought their journey had ended in the desert. Now, before me stood their children, a new generation, a new beginning. But one question remained. Would they repeat the mistakes of their parents? I am Moses, and this is the story of a generation standing on the edge of destiny. The Lord spoke again. Count the people. At first, it may sound like a simple census. But why count the people again? Because God was preparing them for their inheritance. God wanted every tribe, every family, every individual to know. Hey, Matered, have you ever felt forgotten? Invisible, unimportant? This census reminds us of something beautiful. God knows his people by name. He counts what the world overlooks. Then something unexpected happened. 5 sisters approached me. Their father had died. They had no brothers. According to tradition, they would receive no inheritance. But they asked an extraordinary question. Why should our father's name disappear? Their courage amazed me. I sought the Lord, and God answered. The daughters are right, can you imagine? God changed an inheritance law because 5 women dared to ask. What does this teach us? Sometimes faith means respectfully bringing our needs before God. Then the Lord spoke words I had expected, yet still feared. Moses, your time is coming to an end. I would see the promised land, but I would not enter it. 40 years. Countless miracles, countless struggles. And now, my journey was ending. Have you ever worked for something you would never fully experience? I knew something important. God's plans are bigger than one person. The people needed a shepherd, someone to lead them forward. God chose Joshua. I laid my hands upon him before the entire nation. This was not merely a change in leadership, it was a lesson. God's work never ends with one generation. He always raises another. Perhaps you're wondering, who are you preparing to continue what God has entrusted to you? Then God reminded Israel about offerings, daily offerings, Sabbath offerings, festival offerings. Why repeat these instructions? Because people easily forget what matters most. The promised land was important, but worship was even more important. Success without worship leads people away from God. Blessings without gratitude often produce pride. The Lord gave us holy days, days to celebrate. Days to remember, days to worship. Why? Because people forget. We forget God's goodness. We forget his faithfulness. We forget his miracles. The feasts were reminders. Stop, remember, worship. And perhaps we need reminders today more than ever. Then the Lord spoke about vows, promises made before God. Why would God care so much about words? Because words reveal our hearts. Promises matter. Commitments matter. Integrity matters. How easy it is to say something. How difficult it can be to keep it. God wanted his people to understand something simple. Mean what you say. Wilderness years ending. The children now stood where their parents once stood. Got the same promise. The same God. The same opportunity. But would they believe? Would they obey? Would they trust? History was about to be written by a new generation. And every generation eventually reaches this moment, a moment when it must choose faith over fear. The story of Numbers 26 to 30 is not simply about counting. It is about new beginnings. God gave Israel another opportunity. Their parents failed, but their story did not have to end in failure. And neither does yours. Maybe you've made mistakes. Maybe your family made mistakes. Maybe your past is filled with regrets. The good news is this: God specializes in new beginnings. He still counts his children. He still remembers his promises. He still raises new leaders. He still values worship. He still honors integrity. And he still invites his people to trust him. So let me ask you, if you were standing on the edge of your promised future today, would you move forward in faith or stay in the wilderness of fear? I pray you choose faith. If this story encouraged you, like this video. Share it with someone who needs a fresh start. Subscribe to Scripture Spin for more powerful Bible stories and biblical teachings. And tell me in the comments which lesson touched your heart the most: the second census, the daughter's courage, Joshua's calling, or God's gift of new beginnings. Until next time, remember these. Your past may explain where you've been, but with God, it does not have to determine where you're going.